Ready? Call this order, meeting to order. Corporation Chemical, the Township of Blue Mountain, and Raglan, this 12th day of April, 2023, 7:06 p.m. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Okay, I'll do the roll call. Councillor Banks?
Yes.
Councillor Caulfield? Here. Councillor Keller?
Here.
Councillor Quad?
Present.
We have a resolution that the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan adopt the agenda as amended to include the financial report and item 9.6, 9.7, and 9.8, and also to remove item 1.1 and include a second item in closed session under subsection B, item regarding a personal matter about an identifiable individual. Can I get a mover for this motion? Moved by Councillor Keller, seconded by Councillor Banks. Any discussion? No. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest this evening?
On item 5.2.
Okay. Councillor Caulfield has declared and filed her form. Delegations, MB Public Library. Can we call you up to the museum?
For having us tonight. I'm here with Ben Curry. She's the vice chair of the library board.
Okay,
And I'm Natalie Barrington, the CEO.
okay, and I'm Mary Ellen, Councillor Skelford, Councillor Kevin Watt, Councillor Sheldon Keller, and Councillor Minley.
Okay.
So I hope we can meet once a year just to go over what kind of services the library has and we can offer the community of BLR. We're really happy that in 2022, the numbers are starting to go back up to what they were in 2019. And people are excited to be back at the library and participating in programs. I have these highlights. I didn't bring enough copies, I'm sorry. So BLR residents checked out over 1,000 books last year. We had 7 new memberships from BLR. And in total, we have 171 patrons. That number doesn't include those summer and seasonal memberships, which we don't really track where those people live. So we do have about 339 seasonal memberships as well. This year we put together a really lean budget with a minimal increase. The board is asking both townships if they would give a 2% increase, which then gave to us. That set to about, oh, sorry, there's a second page too. And then expensive evidence. That works out to about $75. Which is money that we could put towards programming through BLR, because we'd love to do more programming in your community. Over March break, we did the Let's Talk Science event, and we had 25 children in attendance. And there was a lot of positive feedback, wanting more programming here. So on April 17th, we have an Indigenous drumming program, and students from kindergarten to grade 2 are coming from Humber Rapids Public School, and we have some members of the community joining us. We've got about 45 children at that, it's a really fun event that the early on Indigenous educators put on, and the kids all get drums to play and they sing songs, and then they get a little kit to take home. And we're also looking at doing more Let's Talk Science sessions this spring and summer. That's a nonprofit group, and they have volunteers from the University of Ottawa and teach the kids about science. And then they do a little activity together. And hopefully we could run some kind of a summer reading program this summer as well. So even though we tried to do minimal increases, there are some things that we can't control, like book costs are expected to go up 10% this year. So even though our budget line didn't change for that, we'll be able to purchase fewer books. Of course, our utility costs are always on the rise. We do offer a lot of services to the public. We have 3 public computers and free Wi-Fi. And a lot of people come in just to print and make photocopies. We have a DVD pool, we have 3 DVD pools. So every 4 months we get new DVDs. And people really like that because then there's always a change of what's available to borrow. And then we also have a large print pool, which changes every 4 months. So that's good as well because like DVDs and large print books are expensive to purchase. So this way, when we participate in this pool that's always rotating, we can have new stuff to offer people. We do have fundraising plans. With a trivia night on April 21st, that's at the arena in Barry's Bay, and we hope to hold another one in the fall. We also have our used book sale, which Betty is part of, and that raises around $5,000 a year for us. So those are, I hope this year we can do some things to increase the profile of the library in the community, both in Wesca Valley and in DLR. We have a lot to offer the patrons, and it sounds like people are excited to be part of programs and do things. I don't know if you have any questions or.
I was very pleased when you held some things at our reading here. I mean, it's nice to have a library, even though it isn't in our community, come to our community and offer things to the children.
No, we're a distance from Palmer Rapids and area, so I'm happy to come as often as we can to do some programming.
What was nice was to see the participation. Lots of people come out. That was really good.
Yeah, and
That was encouraging. Yeah, that was encouraging to hear that the numbers were going that high.
So if you want to find something in our community, we'll be happy to help with it.
I did want to say that I really appreciate the hours you've given us to use the community center. That's great, and we really appreciate that. So that helps us to have more programming when we have space that we can use.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, no, it's a great service.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Pretty on the phone. But
Yeah.
not in person.
I appreciate it.
And don't forget, our book sale is all open anytime the library is.
That's right.
down in the
It's
basement.
it's always fun.
And it's run like a small bookstore.
Okay,
Yeah, because myself and another lady take care of it.
okay.
And it's definitely our biggest fundraiser for the
And
library.
if you have any books at home, they're in really good shape.
That's what I was wondering.
Don't take them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all of a sudden we're getting low on books.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's good.
So I'm gonna ask that question, where books come from, so just tell me.
That's my biggest one.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
I myself, I actually have a small book exchange at the store.
Oh,
People.
that's great.
And we have books here too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That would be great, yeah. Those are future plans, I have lots of ideas, but. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
That was a good turnout for that.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
Okay, Raymond, we'll probably about the one that I believe.
Oh, I'm just declaring, just so. The trail, I know where it's starting and where it's coming, ending, but I don't know where it goes from there, so
Yeah.
that's why I have to. Yep, keep there, okay.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and staff members for allowing me to come and speak on behalf of Mr. Burns, who is indisposed. I'm here tonight to represent a large group of concerned citizens who are opposed to the proposal by the Peterson Pathfinders Snowmobile Club. I have with me here a petition that, if I may, I can present to you, Mayor,
Yes.
a copy, the original copy, with 126 signatures
Okay.
of property owners and taxpayers, voters who feel that they'll be negatively affected. And their properties will be adversely affected by the continuation of this trail. Maybe I'll just read it for the benefit of everyone. To all council members of BLR Township. We, the following concerned citizens and taxpayers of Bruden, Ellendock, and Raglan Townships, oppose the proposal by the Peterson Pathfinder Snowmobile Club to extend their snowmobile trail. The proposed new trail route will be along Jewelville Road to cross private property, to York Road, across unimproved York and the Charity Road System road allowance, and along Homestead Road to Quadville Green Lake Griffith Trail System. Our concerns are for the following reasons. Number one, safety concern due to increased snowmobile traffic along the above mentioned roadways, together with the normal traffic during winter township road conditions. The potential need for increased road maintenance. Number two, the increased liability risk to BLR Township during the trail system, as well as the off-season. That is during the spring, summer, and autumn months. Number three, the lack of opportunity to comment on this proposal by residents and adjacent landowners to address the safety issue. Trail construction concerns such as proper land survey, trail route access across rugged terrain, existing and new fencing requirements with adjacent landowners, which is required under Section 53 of the Planning Act. We feel the tourism benefit to BLR Township businesses would be greatly outweighed by the increased safety and liability risk involved and the lack of opportunity to comment on the proposal. As I said, 126 signatures, all just from this proposed area where this is going to be.
They all touch on the road allowance, Drew?
Some are property owners adjacent to it,
Yeah,
near it, or around it.
Okay.
So this proposed trail.
okay.
We just feel, as a representative of this group, that the township is in a no-win situation with this proposal. The increased liability, I'm not sure, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions during this proposal. I'm not expecting an answer tonight. I will be following up with an email, and which I will be outlining certain questions about the policies and procedures of the council and their feelings geared towards what's been proposed. With interest, I've read in the Leader last week, the front page, a neighboring township, just northwest of us here. The headline reads, "Damage to roads will be discussed with snowmobile club." Apparently, from what I read, the snowmobile club rumor, the trail goes along the road and is damaging the road allowance, causing increased cost, increased liability, potential damage to vehicles and property. As far as I can tell, the snowmobile club is leaving the township out to dry. They're not going to be assisting with any repairs or anything. Their choice is to move the trail. Now, I know options to move the trail may not exist. The trail that ends at Jewel Road currently has been tried before through private property. In the past, it has failed due to concerns of trespassing in the off-season, garbage, noise, and increased liability. Apparently, the trail is set to go up Jewelville Road, approximately 4 kilometers. So Jewelville Road, only part of it is maintained by BLR Township. Now, are you willing to give approval on a system that's not in your jurisdiction? Sure, go ahead.
I think there's some kind of a misunderstanding in that we gave approval for this. We haven't. We gave a preliminary approval, which basically was to give the snowmobile club something to go to OFSC to see if they could get funding
That's
even to open the trail.
Mhm.
If the township was to give final approval, there's a lot of issues that we would have to look into, a lot of
Yeah,
things.
we're a long ways away from that.
Yeah, we're a long, long ways away from that. That's. I mean, I kind of compared it to, closing a shoreline road allowance. You come to us and say, I've got 66 feet of road allowance in front of my property on the river, and I would like to close it. So we'd say to you, yeah, we preliminary agree with that. You file an application. Then all of the hoops have to be jumped through, like all of the ministry approvals, all of the neighbors have to be notified. So I mean, we're a long ways from anything up to this trail opening.
Correct, correct. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that, but this is the intention. As stated by the club. This is the intention
Yeah,
to take this route. Okay,
yeah,
we're looking at the preliminary stage.
yeah,
But this is their full intention.
Yeah.
And you're right, I'll get to that later on with the proposal of the land use.
okay.
Now, this is the rental agreement or a lease agreement, this
It
is
would-
what I understand.
I would think it would be a lease agreement and it would have a time
Yeah.
limit.
So is that consistent then with the public meeting process? Or is that something that council can just sort of do with the club without?
No, I don't think the council would be in a position to do it without consultation from the landowners, because I mean, it is going to affect them and we need to know what the landowners are going to think.
Right.
But I mean, we're not at that stage yet, because this thing may never get off the ground.
There's a lot of may not.
Yeah,
Well, it's
It
still
looks
early,
like
it's so early, and it's far from decided.
exactly, but we want to nip this in the bud before any more extensive,
Dollars get spent.
dollars get spent.
Yeah.
Any more, yeah, we're really not in favor of it. And these are the reasons why.
Yeah.
You know, the increased safety on Drill Road, the increased, well, on all the roads. You know, going down Homestead also. I don't traverse Homestead Road a lot, but, you know, I use Jewel Road to go to work, and there's school buses, there's mail routes on that. And that's a forest road, a lot of it's forest road. There's only a small section that BLR maintains is on road allowance. Further on up, the road allowance, the nature of it doesn't give a lot of leeway between the 66 feet to add another lane or room for a snowmobile. So it's gonna be on the road. That's our concern here. Our friend from the snowmobile club speaks about hydro easements. I know on other property, I don't have hydro, sorry, Wayne?
What did you say about Apple, what?
Hydro easement, hydro easement?
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not aware if the township has hydro easements on their forest road, township roads.
When I spoke about easements, Randy, they were talking about running up Highway 515 to Monmouth.
Okay.
They're talking about that road. That's what they spoke about, where they could use the hydro easement. Maybe they have to go across the road a couple times, but they could get their quad without it.
Okay, all right,
and they would have to do that themselves, we wouldn't.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with us.
right, that's a totally up to them.
Yes, yeah.
Another question question about the road allowance use between North Road and the Charity Road. The Snowmobile Club speaks about having gates on it. An open concession, okay, once you open it and travel it, it's open. Another question that will be asked of the township, what is the policy, what are the procedures of the township about gates on an open and travel concession, road loans? It may not be a concession, but it is road loans. I, as a tenant farmer on three properties, I deal with 3 properties on Earth Road. I have great concerns. I have cattle, I have a farming operation there. I fence part of the property along the road now, so I'm very concerned about trespassing. I picked garbage there in the past because people come to the end of the road and turn around, park, whatever. We're just concerned about that. In the fall of 2011, one of the property owners there was a cable and a gate system, which allegedly was on road allowance. It was never proven, it was never surveyed that it was on the road allowance. A member of the public came along and said, I would like to traverse that road allowance. Council sent a letter to the landowner indicating that it looks like the gate or the cable system is on road allowance and please remove it. The landowner did that. Access was never denied to the road allowance. Just to give you a back, that cable was probably up for 30 years before that, and there was never any issue. And my point is, access is never denied to the road allowance. Anybody can travel and walk it, whatever. So that's one of the questions I'll be posing in an email. You touched on the public input, and I'm hoping that whatever they decide, that this will be made public, because our friend from the Snowmobile Club says, oh yeah, I've talked to this person and I think they'll be okay with it. Well, he's got no signed agreements with any property owners as of yet. Everybody's taken by surprise to this. So it seems like it's not, they haven't laid out all their cards on the table as far as proposing this. They've come to you to see if this is the first step. So we just want to make sure that we're not, it sort of gets nipped right here before we spend any more time on it. As far as I know, there's no previous, and he mentioned it too, there's no land use agreement of this type in Ontario
Yes, there is. They have all kinds of,
on the township right away.
yes. I believe so.
I didn't know about that.
I don't know, I'd have to go back.
Okay, maybe not. They have to be private land.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
So this would be the first one in Ontario. That sets off some red flags for me. Why is this the only one? Why are BLR constituents being the guinea pigs here? That totally sets off red flags for me. They talk about opening it and donating the timber back to the township. Historically, any work that's been done from a road or improvements to a road, the marketable timber has been donated back to the property owner. That's another question for council. I'm not sure what your policies and procedures are for that.
Well, we have a lot of issues that, that we have to deal with. That's gonna have to be looked into. Like I said,
I'd say-
it's very, very preliminary.
Yeah.
And if you send all of those to us, then we will have
Sure,
to,
that would be great.
because we've started a file on this.
I'm sure you've heard from other opponents, I'm sure there's been calls.
I've talked to
Email.
John, John's called me and he sent me emails and I've had emails and
Right.
here, just forward them and keep compiling them, so.
Great,
that
great.
when
I've had
we-
a few people call me.
Yeah.
I have, okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
You know, through that, just in that area, you know, we've got one of the largest, farmers in his commodity in Ontario. You know, he's really concerned about trespassing in winter and summer. Four-wheelers outnumber snowmobiles 3-1 in Renfrew County.
Well, and this is the thing that the snowmobile club will say, that there's no four-wheelers or anything allowed on it. It's only a snowmobile trail, but who's going to police it and control it?
It's hard to manage.
Yeah, so, you know, like, there's a lot of issues that we have to be satisfied
A
with.
fence and a gate, and I've seen it on the property there. People go around the fence, even some members of the Skidoo Club to investigate the land use in that area. Have admitted, yeah, we went through there. Well, we went past about 4 no trespassing signs to do it, so I don't put a lot of faith in the gate with the no trespassing sign system. When there's a trail there, once you open it up, it's opened up. So, you know, the farmer, he's very concerned about, he's got expensive crops, he's got a lot of money into his crops. He sure doesn't want anything ruined, in the summer or in the winter time. You know, we all hear stories of trails being used by locals. Okay, that's great. When it comes to, people using it for recreation purposes, oh, there's a snowmobile trail here, let's just use it. That's when things get closed down. We've all experienced that in one way or another. Lastly, we don't feel that the trail provides any economic benefit to the township. Yeah, we talk about spur lines to the store or the gas station or something, but that's still very much preliminary. There is no land use agreement in place on any other properties.
Yeah, I don't know if you're getting to the store, to any store. I haven't seen, there's no agreements in place that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Now,
It's a great idea, it's great to talk about it, but you have to show me how you're gonna do it.
now you, Mayor, you've been privy to, a draft agreement from the county, a draft, snowmobile bylaw at last county council meeting.
Yes,
Yeah. So there may be something in that. I haven't seen it yet, but
and
Yeah.
that's for the other trail,
yeah, right.
yeah.
But that, if it's in Renfrew County, that could encompass this as well.
Yeah.
So that may need to be looked at. I'm only here as a property owner, as a tenant farmer on this property. You know, I just, these people that have approached us, they're second and third and fourth generation residents and farmers, in this area. They have a vested interest in this area. Not someone who moved in 2 years ago. These people are really concerned about what's gonna happen.
And we will be going to the adjacent landowners for their comments. So not to worry that we're just gonna push something through.
That's great to hear.
We won't do that,
That's good to hear.
not as long as I'm here. and
No,
that
we
This
can't
these
do that.
council members either,
That's great to hear.
we're elected to represent
Everybody,
people,
Great.
Everybody's voice.
yeah.
Anybody have any other questions or?
No, just send us that email with those questions so that we have that,
Sure.
you haven't really raised anything that hasn't already been raised or that I'm
yeah.
unaware of, so I mean, it's all the things that you're mentioning are things that I think about all the time as well, when we talk about, should we do something like this?
Well, it was sort of alarming when we started talking about this, that nobody's heard anything. It's news to me that they're gonna do that. It's news to me. So it's,
It was news to everyone, they came to the meeting, so
Yeah.
they come to talk to us about what they were planning and
yeah,
proposed routes, and that's fine that but I mean, really early on, all we gave them was the, okay to, yeah, if you wanna go to the club and see if you can get funds to
Yeah.
do something, you guys go ahead and do that, we're a long ways away from agreeing, but yeah, if you guys need time to go see if you can get money. Sure, it's gonna take a lot of money to do what they're talking about doing.
Yeah,
And actually, this was the second time that the club has approached us.
Correct. Yeah,
First time.
They approached us before the last.
Yes. that's right, yeah, I watched that video.
Yeah, and they just kind of
Yeah,
left
the,
it.
the interest was then, but because of changing council elections, it kind of waited now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other club is full intention of coming up. That they can run on Crown Mountain, so it's, they're coming.
Yeah.
I met with the guys back in the bush. They were running the groomer through to check the trails, they'd always come through. When I met up with them,
So, yeah, there's, the wheels are in
oh
motion.
no, they're coming because they're on Crown Land, right?
Yeah,
There's no private landowners to stop them.
Right,
and through the other municipalities too, they use the abandoned railway line, you know, which has. And so it's just this part where there is no railway, so now they're looking for another
That's right.
avenue to connect,
They're trying to make a loop.
yeah. Yeah,
Economically, just me speaking for myself, I don't see a lot of benefit. Again, I haven't seen where the trails are connecting and speaking to the different clubs. I don't see a lot of benefit there. I'm not there economically.
yeah, we don't have the businesses, I mean, if you had a hotel, restaurant,
correct.
gas station, yes, it would benefit because.
If the trails were running through the towns, right?
Yeah.
If the trails were, as I said, coming through Palmer and coming through Quad, there's benefit for those businesses.
Yeah,
But we're far from the businesses.
That's right.
Right.
and we've got a lot of natural obstacles, rivers, bridges.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
Swamps,
Yeah,
there's
large obstacles.
large obstacles, you know, all the ministries for environmental protection need to be addressed, need to be involved.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So lots of people at the federal level would have to look at this.
Absolutely, yeah. All right,
Okay.
thank you very much for your time. And we will be in touch, we will be keeping,
Yeah, definitely send a note.
keeping tabs on what's going on.
Yeah. No problem taking the time to come in, but yeah, we're not forgotten. And without coming in, we wouldn't be doing anything without a public consultation.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Yeah, you do.
Okay, so do we have Mr. Dahlstrom?
Eric is on.
Online.
Yes, yep, I can hear you. Thank you very much, Mayor Marion and councilors. Do I have the ability to please share my screen as I've got a short PowerPoint presentation that's been prepared. It just currently says the host disabled participant screen sharing. There we are. Thank you. Okay, so my name is Eric Belchamber. I'm a consultant for Rogers Communications, and the reason I'm hoping to speak to you this evening has got to do with the municipal consultation process as it relates to cell towers and the current situation right now with an organization referred to as CRINS having delegated authority from the municipality for these municipal consultations. What I'd like to do is essentially provide a very high level of overview as to what the municipality's role is in consultations for cell towers. And then from there, describe what CRINS does, what we would do as the proponent directly with the municipality, and what some of the key differences and concerns are. So essentially, the township's role in municipal consultation and public notification for cell towers involves assessing the proponent's proposed cell tower location from a land use and planning perspective. It isn't providing approval for the tower itself, as that is really the role of Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, or ISED. When it comes to the assessment of the land use itself, the township then provides concurrence, non-concurrence, or conditional concurrence that the proponent, whether it's Bell, Rogers, TELUS, or Freedom, has followed and completed the required process for municipal consultation and public notification. Some municipalities adopt their own antenna system siting protocol. Others delegate it to CRINS, and others simply follow Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada's default protocol. The current process going through CRINS involves some steps, and the steps, whether it's through CRINS or through the proponent directly, aren't vastly different. And I'll go through the CRINS process first. Essentially, we as the proponent have to pay CRINS $2,700. The 120-day consultation timeline starts. From there, the portion of the fee is remitted to the township. CRINS requests addresses for public notification within a prescribed notification radius, and the township provides those addresses. CRINS, and this is where there's a fairly significant difference between consulting directly with the proponent and we're going through CRINS. In this case, CRINS mails out a postcard to the required registered property owners with a link to the CRINS website for information and comment. There is no ad placed in the local community newspaper, and the public then has 30 days to comment. CRINS provides the township with a land use authority recommendations report after the close of public comments, which the township then reviews and typically will sign that CRINS report. And CRINS is to provide the proponent with the signed LUA recommendations report within the 120 days that's stipulated in both the CRINS protocol and ISED's default protocol. If consultation would occur directly through the proponent, in this case, Rogers, there are some key differences. The proponent would provide the township with a site selection justification report and a public consultation package, and that's when the 120-day timeline starts. Some townships or municipalities or cities require a fee for these types of consultations. The next step involves the proponent requesting addresses for public notification. Those addresses are provided. The proponent mails out a detailed public consultation package, including photo renderings and a site survey to the required property owners. We place an ad in the community newspaper, and again, the public has 30 days to comment. The proponent would respond to any public comments and addresses any concerns raised by public bodies and or technical agencies, things like the MNR or Conservation Authority. And at the end of the 30-day public comment period, the proponent provides the township with a consultation summary and concurrence request that summarizes the consultation process and includes all of the public comments. The township then staff prepare a report for discussion at the next council meeting, and the township's position is provided to the proponent. As I said earlier, either in the form of concurrence, non-concurrence, or conditional concurrence. When it comes to some of the key differences and the concerns that we've had for years going through this CRINS process are laid out in the following table. With CRINS, it's to be completed within 120 days, just as it would be consulting directly with a proponent. Unfortunately, however, the CRINS consultations take on average 220 days, requiring constant follow-ups, whereas consultation with a proponent can typically be completed within about 65 days, and that's including the 30-day public comment period. The CRINS public notification involves mailing a postcard, which can get lost in the mail. It someone can consider it junk mail, versus an 8.5 by 11, 15-page package that includes public consultation information, along with the community newspaper ad. So the concern that we've got is that fulsome consultation doesn't seem to be occurring when we go through CRINS, because the response rate is vastly different than when the proponent does so directly with the public. And for example, we simply haven't received any public comments whatsoever for any of the sites that have consulted through CRINS, and it's pretty odd. It's pretty peculiar. Thirdly, CRINS claims to collect and answer public comments, but we as the proponent never have visibility into it, and we should. Whereas with the proponent going through consultation directly, we would collect and answer the public comments and provide them all to the township, a very fulsome package. And so the concern that we've got is that we as the proponent have no visibility into the comments and CRINS's responses, which are sent on our behalf without our prior review or approval. And lastly, the CRINS website is the mechanism for public comment, whereas we as the proponent consulting with municipality would collect and answer public questions and provide them all to the township. And the key concern here is that while consultation is underway and sites should be available for comment, the CRINS active consultations tab on the website consistently shows that there are no applications currently available for comment or review. This is what the proponent sees as the CRINS portal. So we get to see what the timelines are for all of the sites that have been submitted. In this case, for example, there are 3 that are in your township, one of them being C8620, and it was submitted back in mid-November. And we should have had concurrence, or at least the municipality's position, by March 18th. And so we're approaching even almost 30 days beyond the 120 days. Here's a view of the CRINS website that consistently shows that there are no applications available for comment, despite being under the impression that sites are going through consultation or should be available for comment. And lastly, in conclusion, essentially, the CRINS process in theory is welcomed by proponents. However, the execution doesn't meet CRINS's or ISED's stated timelines. And this causes an enormous amount of difficulty for proponents with delays, uncertainty, misinformation, and a significant lack of transparency. Proponents are obligated to consult thoroughly with land use authorities and the public, and it doesn't seem to be happening when delegated authority has been granted to CRINS. Thirdly, the current level of community engagement of the CRINS, when CRINS is involved, doesn't meet our standard as Rogers, and we question as to whether or not it meets ISED's standards. And lastly, we are respectfully requesting that the township sends delegated authority by means of sending CRINS a letter indicating as much, and this would allow proponents to consult directly with the township, ensuring that fulsome consultation occurs in a timely fashion. And I would like to just take a brief moment to thank Tammy very much for her help through the process with the handful of sites that we've gone through consultation with CRINS. Are there questions?
Well, I'd like to thank you for your presentation. I'd like to request that you send us a copy of your slide presentation, so we have it to refer to. Excuse me. We are concerned about this, as you are, and we will be looking at how we can remedy this. I don't know if we'll have the time to do that this evening, but definitely at our next regular meeting. I mean, it's not acceptable the way things are going. It's slowing down the process, and we definitely have to do something about it. Any questions from any of the council members?
No. I definitely agree with you, what you had to say.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, it's, and I understand that there's other municipalities that's in the same boat that use them, so we just have to gather up some more information and chat with a few people, and we'll be able to make a decision on how we can fix it.
Understood. And again, I can't thank Tammy enough for being so responsive and helpful during this process. Marianne, you've been copied on a lot of this correspondence. So it's been challenging, but on the one hand, or on the other hand, Tammy's been extremely helpful, and it's really appreciated. So we look forward to improving service as part of the Eeyore and Selgap project in your communities, and
Yes.
provide a meaningful method of connectivity. Okay,
Most definitely. Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
my pleasure. Thank you for your time. With that, I'll simply sign off.
All right, have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you too.
We can discuss this later in the meeting.
Mhm.
We have a resolution that we, the council of the township of Brunel, Lindop, and Raglan, hereby adopt the minutes of the regular council meeting of March 1st, 2023, and the special council meeting of March 6th, 2023, as presented. Can I give a mover for that, please?
I can look at it.
Moved by Councilor Cloud, seconded by Councilor Bothell. Any discussion, comments? All for the vote, all those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay. Reports on direction received. These are requests we had from the last council meeting. A letter regarding we have a resolution that the council, the corporation of the township of Brunel, Landock and Raglan support the correspondence received from the corporation of the county Huron regarding call to action, review of the Cannabis Act. Could I get a mover for that, please? Move to Councilor Keller, seconded by Councilor Quad. Any comments? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Um, Item 7.2. Bradley requests Marie the staff report. Yeah.
So originally, we had received a letter, a request from Bradley Law in December 23rd, 2021. Requesting that we convey a portion of the town road lands that a septic is located on. Council declined the request and put a statement through that we would permit the septic to remain there should a severance application be applied for. They are asking us to reconsider that with a letter dated on January 26th of 2022. Sorry, January 17th, 2023. Have asked us to reconsider that. We brought this to council and council directed staff to contact our solicitor for advice on that. And in the staff report here, you can see what our solicitor advises. Be conveying the property or to provide an easement isn't advised. His basic recommendation would be is if they are requesting to be putting in a severance application that we would put a condition on the consent application of a, I'm sorry, here it was called, an encroachment agreement, saying that the septic can stay there. As long as we are okay with it being there, but we're not conveying any land to them, because it's hard to convey it back should situations change years from now.
So that would allow them to go ahead with the severance.
And I've spoken with the land division committee on county, and they are in agreement with that. And if they did apply for a severance for some reason, that they would be okay with that condition from the township on that.
So the way I understand it, it can stay there, or if we decide we don't want it anymore. It has to-
With a certain amount of notice, we can get that.
That's right.
Dictated in the formal legal agreement.
Okay. So we would enter into an encroachment agreement then?
Yeah.
And do they have adequate land on that holding to have the septic in that on the property?
That would be a portion of the severance application for county to just.
Because I don't have a problem with it and I don't have a problem with the encroachment agreement. I'm just thinking that,
I'm sure the county would give them it without it, right?
yeah,
Severance without it.
I'm thinking that have an encroachment agreement. But in the future, if they ever need to replace it or whatever, that it be relocated onto their land. And then that problem would be fixed.
Yeah, in my
So-
dealings recently in this year with the county, I couldn't imagine them getting a severance without having land put
Yeah.
a septic on.
Yeah, so I think we should, that would be my thought on how we would proceed.
I think it's about there, I think there's almost a recommended minimum size.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
there
they
is.
have to,
Yeah,
have
to
to
support-
get the
To
severance.
support a wetland septic.
Yeah. Yeah, so an encroachment agreement with that condition that ever need to be replaced, that it be relocated. Yeah.
So no severance consent application has yet been submitted because they don't have the insurance
Yeah.
that we're allowing to remain.
Yeah.
Let's allow it and so.
So the direction to staff is to reply to Mr. Howe with that direction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Need a motion for that.
Okay, I'm good for that.
It would make it cleaner too if they, in the future, decided to sell it at, you know.
Down. Got the request for the, down.
We have a resolution that the council of the corporation, the township of Blue Mountain Dock and Raglan direct staff to advise Bradley Law that the township would be in favor of an encroachment agreement for severance purposes, but not in favor of conveying any portion of the township road lands. Again, mover for that, please. Mover Councilor Banks, seconded by. Okay. Councilor Caldwell, any discussion?
Should be good, should be good, yeah.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes.
Against? Motion is carried. We have another staff report on legal advice regarding the street Franklin request.
I can speak to this one as well.
Okay.
Mayor. So this came before council previously, that there's a landlocked portion of property that used to have a long-term lease with the previous owner, and that is expired very, either just or it was going to be very soon. And he's looking for an alternate route between himself, Mr. Bent, and Mr. Shute. And they want to know about opening the road allowance. So again, as requested by council, staff sought legal advice. So options would be to purchase the road allowance if council is agreeable. That's one thing to consider, but it would be more expensive. If they were going to use the road access, from a legal standpoint, it's not advisable. I know township has done that in the past, so it's a matter of what council wants to see. Again, some neighboring townships rarely entertain these sorts of requests. Again, it's council's choice. The staff is asking for direction on what you like to see with that. We want to.
I think at this time would be appropriate to see what other municipalities do,
Yeah,
and the ask is made, because I'm sure it's not new.
no, it's not.
We haven't looked into this, and a lot of townships have bylaws that set a policy for them outlining what they do and do not.
And so I was gonna say we should adopt a policy, because we also have the requests from another landowner later in the meeting.
Yeah. No, legally, we can't give them permission because, I mean, we're just opening ourselves up to liability.
Unfortunately.
And that's not very, a wise decision to make on behalf of our repairs.
Yeah.
I do not agree. I shouldn't say agree, I do not. I lean towards not closing road allowances and transferring them to people, because I mean, the road allowances are there for a reason.
Yeah, they do have a purpose.
Yeah, so. I don't know what the answer would be for this one. The only other thing is if they bring it up to a standard that the township can assume it. But again,
That would be a very costly process.
Yeah.
For those involved.
yeah,
But that's typically what has to happen is you gotta bring it up to
Yeah.
a standard to allow the township to take it over
yeah,
at no cost to itself.
yeah. So.
And that is a common thing to have happen if someone wants. to
Yeah, well-
Make the investment, right?
Yeah, running with intention that, yeah.
Yes, that's fair condition of sounds.
Yeah. Mhm. So. We definitely need a policy on how we deal with these situations.
Yeah. Cause I mean, the asks we are getting are based on people want to simply access their property. To probably cut the timber, I'm assuming, so it really isn't for development, so it's kind of there, they open it, it's there for 1 or 2 years, then it's done and left to grow up. Or they keep it as a bike trail.
Yeah.
But that's where the liability lies, right? It's ours, and once it's open, and the
Yeah.
landowner has to understand that then they can't post anybody wanting to use that concession. So yeah, I think we have to do some research on how we wish to proceed with this, because, yeah,
Yeah,
it's only fair for them to use it, but.
if they have no other access to their property,
Yeah.
that's what that's there.
Exactly. You know,
In a few of the bylaws that we looked at from other municipalities, it does provide exceptions for those situations if that's the thing,
Yeah,
but in a general, it's not anything. But there are exceptions to the.
yeah. So maybe we need to bring a draft of one of a bylaw
yeah,
to us.
And just to review it.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. See if it meets what we're looking at, right?
Mhm.
It's,
so what was the recommendation here? There really is none, is there?
Not really, no.
I was looking for council direction, and I think we provided direction to staff. But
Yeah. Okay.
What about that?
Yeah, isn't it? We have a resolution that council, the corporation, and the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan direct staff to bring a draft bylaw for a policy in entertaining requests for road allowance uses. Could I get a mover for that, please? Councilor Collins, seconded by Councilor Todd. Any discussion, comments?
Well, at this time.
We'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, we are coming to correspondence. Is there anything in the correspondence that anyone would like pulled out? To be dealt with separately. I have one question on the Enbridge gas. What was your thoughts on that one, Jordan? On the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors?
I looked almost to say that.
Support item 8.4, reducing municipal insurance.
Yes.
And I like the one from the municipality of Wawa.
That's the one?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
The municipality of Wawa is supporting the municipality of Chattanooga.
Any other ones that anyone want to hold out? I kind of like the town of Essex, 8.12. For municipalities to retain surplus proceeds from tax sales. Instead of going to the province. Anything else?
Ontario Senior of the Year Award.
I,
I see where they're going with the Enbridge one, and
yeah,
if they're gonna apply fees to locates, you're gonna see a lot of people deferring to locates and end up
yeah,
causing problems.
yes. That's what I thought.
Not good. And in turn, it's gonna cost maybe the municipality or other individuals more money to do projects.
Yeah.
More downtime. Yeah, not good.
Okay, so which one? What's the number on that one? Okay,
Averages 8.01. We're down over there.
Not that we have natural gas in the area yet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah, it's gonna be a long time before we get it,
Never know.
It's a bit away. For us.
cause I had a phone call years ago, where I wanted to know if I wanted natural gas. I said, sure, well, what's your address? I told her what the address is, and she looked it up on the computer and says, sorry, sir, you're never gonna get it.
okay, so then, we have a resolution. That we, the council, the corporation, the township of Brunel and Dr. Ragland hereby accept the correspondence as circulated and can be amended to, with the exception of 8.4, 8.12, and 8.15.
So nobody knows about senior.
What's that?
Municipality, the, being on the move for an award.
What's the deadline for it?
End of the month.
Does anyone know of anyone that?
Well, I personally, like, I think John Rutledge puts in a lot of volunteer hours
Yeah,
with the fire department, with the fishing game club.
I know he's been found at the community center this year too.
Yeah,
Well, you guys know of anyone else? I'm sure there's lots, but.
That for the senior one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to put together
See?
the application?
No, Linda Pilgrim and, Jason Helpers, they did our hours and stuff, right, John, too.
Yes, 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 Linda and Ellen and Jane.
Yeah.
You know, potential.
Yeah, they've done a really nice job. Yeah.
So is there only one?
Yeah,
You cannot nominate yourself. Oh,
yeah, I read that part too.
I can try, I'm not very savvy on the computer, that's for sure.
Well, maybe kind of put it together and Tammy can do it for you. Okay, okay,
So now which one are we doing?
yeah,
Which person are we doing?
Where should it say here we do one back?
Two
This is
times.
something they have around here, do they know?
Yeah, they have it every year.
Yeah, yeah, other than question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the motion that we, the council, the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan hereby accept correspondences circulation with the exception of items 8.4, 8.12, and 8.15. Can I get an over for that, please? Moved by Councilor Coppell, seconded by Councilor Quad. Any discussion, comments? Call to the vote, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. We gotta move back to the next meeting. Okay, we're going to new business. We have Roger Self-Howard Land Use Authority. And we have two reports.
Please speak to that. So these two tower requests have gone through the CRIM system and we have received these reports from CRIMS. They are both a low priority. I just read them to council, so you are aware of it.
Yeah.
It's the high priority ones that require more council input, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware.
Okay, so we have a resolution, the council corporation of the township of Brunel and Dr. Raglan accept these reports for information purposes only. Can I get a mover, please? Councilor Ray, seconded by Councilor Keller. Any questions or comments? Call for the vote, all those in favor?
Low priority means how far?
Low priority isn't the distance out, it's how invasive it is to the area, if it's
Okay.
likely to be removed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor?
Yes.
Against, motion carried. I guess this was prepared for last week's meeting. The council, the corporation, the township of Brunel and Dr. Raglan hereby approve the expenditure of $200 towards the fire department Easter activity on April 8th, 2023 for event prizes. Can I get a mover for that, please?
Second.
Councilor Coppell, seconded by Councilor Keller. Any comments or discussion? No. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Yeah.
Yes.
Against, motion carried. How was the,
Thank you for that, and yes, it was supposed to happen last week ahead of the event, but it didn't with weather. And that went very well. We fed over 200 people and we had 45 entries in the coloring contest and we gave away 8 prizes.
wow, good,
Yeah. Everybody was happy.
good. Okay, we have a resolution that the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan hereby approve the request from the Palmer Rapids and Area Lions Club to sell their summer draw tickets at the Palmer Rapids Twin Festival draw to be held on Saturday, July 29th, 2023 in the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan. Can I get a word for that, please? Councilor Coppell, seconded by Councilor Banks. Any questions, any comments?
No.
Call for the vote, all those in favor?
Yes.
Against, motion carried. Asset management core infrastructure. We have a resolution that council, the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan hereby approve and adopt the asset management plan mandated by Ontario Regulation 588/17. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councilor Claude, seconded by Councilor Geller. Okay, questions, comments, concerns?
How, Jordan, I don't know if you looked at this or have time to review it, how accurate do you think that some of these?
You look at the road, work the road.
Yeah.
So we've gone over that probably 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah,
And there are still a couple of small deficiencies that
yeah,
we can deal with those later on, but for the most part, we've gone through that in way.
yeah.
It doesn't give us a work plan though of what to deal with when.
No, so that's your road needs study that we're using,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. This highlights the more critical
yeah, just what we
areas
have
and
and
what you have.
what the state of
What it
conditions.
states at, so yeah. You can base your plan off of that as well, but you see
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
getting into that red zone, or yellow zone, either the warning. We want to start planning to do something with it.
because this time around, we include our gravel roads, I see,
Yes.
and then I don't think it did before, like our previous
I don't
one.
believe so.
I know there was one, at least I noticed and said it was very good for the whole section of the road, but
But
half of
parts
that
of it
road
was-
isn't done,
Yeah.
so.
It was hard to distinguish bits and pieces with what was partially done. but
Yeah.
You'd have to break the road up into so many different pieces that
Yeah,
it was already getting to be confusing for the folks on the other end.
so when this is approved, can we get a paper copy of this? Any other questions?
No, I actually thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And just so the council is aware, we're already started working on the next phase for the 2024 deadline.
Yeah, which is gonna be
The building stock, the BCA. Yeah, the building.
is the rolling stock the third phase?
I think it's part of the second, one, but I can't be sure on that.
Yeah. It's gonna be very interesting when it's all done, you know, like, we never had an inventory like that, you know. So. Okay, so any other comments or whatever? I'll call for the vote then, all those in favor? Yes. Yes, motion carried. Okay, we have another request here. For Mr. Keller seeking permission for an insured company hired and paid for personally by myself to do repairs on a concession road between lot 30 concession 5 and lot 31 concession 5. This would be to restore access to my personal property, approximately 100 yards. Company will be determined upon permission to repair concession noted above. So again, this will be to do work on a township road allowance.
Mr. Geller
Is the road
was,
already there?
so there's a driveway on portion of it, and the other portion, I'm not sure, Joe, you would know more about that than I do. Was there an existing road there, or is nothing before?
There was a partial road there one time years ago. Yeah, I believe it was actually used at one time, but it was only temporary. You know, it was sort of like a request this kind of to do some logging and
That's what Mr. Geller is looking for. He has no access to the far side of his property. As you see here, Snake Creek cuts through and cuts off his access from over where his house is here. He can't get into the back portion. The only way in is up the road out to the other side. He's seeking permission to get in here for temporary usage to get as long as it is, that's,
Yeah.
what he's wanting. Again, here we are with a request. with no policy to
No
back.
policies. and- Yeah,
So the council's direction being to defer this request until we have a policy in effect.
I would
I
say,
would think so, yeah.
I would say consult plan over time. They're explaining to them. I'm sure I'll be getting a phone call too every year, so I'll do my best to explain what we're up against.
What would we do if it was a logging operator that asked to do that?
Will we be in the same boat?
Basically, it's, you know,
So yeah, maybe if it's only temporary, there's exceptions in it, we can look
Yeah.
at those options.
Okay,
Maybe the condition is that they planted the trees underneath.
decommission.
yeah, they, you know, because most of the loggers now, if they do a road when they're done. You can't get into it.
Pull a culvert or-
They pull a culvert and there's a deep ditch or they put trees across or whatever. Okay, well, we'll defer to our next meeting then.
So the whole piece of the road isn't there right now, right? There's nothing there. So it's gonna be all brand new. So it's that, are you gonna bring it up to? Gonna bring it up to standards
Yeah.
for the township to take it over?
And
And there's nothing.
Or what do you do with 100
we know,
feet of road, right?
we know even if that. We probably would assume it because why?
Well, exactly, why would it?
That's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a development for one thing, for housing, it's one thing, but
His intention is just to log.
I believe so, yeah.
So we're just gonna defer it to the next meeting. That we have then. Okay, we'll move on to. That we need a resolution that the council, the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan hereby authorizes the extension of bylaw 2022-18 between the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindau, and Raglan and Murray Gallagher for 2023. Any questions, comments? Can I get a mover? So I need a mover. Councilor Caldwell, seconded by Councilor Cullen. Okay, now any questions or comments? Okay, so call for the vote. All those in favor? Yes, motion carried. Okay, moving ahead to an agenda item request form from Councilor Quad.
Do we have a statement of work with? The people who look after our IT?
So we did reach out to, 59 Web Design, who is our hosting for our website and our emails.
So we normally would reach out, we would either have a statement of work in place or we wouldn't.
About what, sorry?
We would either have a statement of work in place for us to do business and they deliver a service, or we don't have one. That's what I'm asking, we have a statement of work with the service provider. We must have some agreement, right?
We did not keep the web design and entered into the agreement for doing that. And then encompassing in with the web or the website is the emails because they've always looked after us.
That's really not the question, but okay, let's back up. How did we choose the incumbent? Is there an RFP?
It's for the evening.
Who is it?
How did we determine to use them?
She does our emails, but
Just wait though, are we having an issue or something with
I am.
I am.
what's happening?
I've been getting emails that, they've been monitoring, they've taken control.
Yeah, I had that too.
And, that happened when I was
So it's
working.
ransomware. That's-
Yeah, and that happened when I was working here. And I remember I was so scared because that's somebody that really taken control of our system. And I spent a whole Saturday in here with Deborah Farr, and there was nothing, no one had been in, it's just,
Well, someone said, hey, let's not fool ourselves.
yeah.
So someone is in. And we don't even know if the incumbent does pen test it.
So it's your suggestion.
I'm not going to yes, but
No, I know, that's what I'm asking questions to protect the township, right? Because if by chance,
What do you
someone comes
suggest?
in and holds you for hostage,
Yeah,
you could be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And if that was the case, who do we sue?
yeah, and we don't understand.
We don't even have a statement of work with the IT company by the time to do business.
So we have our web hosting and email hosting is one company, our IT is.
That's fine. You should have an agreement with both. And what service they provide and how they protect us and how often they do penetration testing and how often they look at the firewall device. Is it hardware, is it software? What's the reporting? What do we see? What's the activity? These are all things that are important, right? I know maybe you're not quite understanding what I'm saying, but these are things that are important to protect
Can you,
the township, right?
can you put something together, what we need to ask people?
Yeah, we can ask those questions, but again, what concerns me is we don't even have an agreement to work with these people. It sounds like we've handed someone business. And we don't even re-tender,
I don't even know.
right?
So who initially set it up?
So it would have been Bernadine with Michelle, because it was a place and I was here.
Yeah.
No, he's got a different IT company when Andrew, no, after Andrew left, you got some.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we have
did.
to, that's our IT, but our emails.
Yeah, but what do we have as an agreement with our IT?
There's no statement of work.
No, there's,
That's,
Yeah, there's gaps with,
Yeah.
I'm not scolding anyone, I'm just saying,
yeah.
I see gaps
Be
when
aware.
when I see things that are happening, it concerns me and I go, hold on a minute. I need to ask more questions. And it's not so much to protect me, it's more about protecting the township.
Yeah.
So we don't get ourselves caught up, because other townships have been held for ransom, and you gotta pay up,
Yeah,
or you're completely crippled.
well, look at that one,
Just
one
one,
provincial organizations
yes.
that have been, and made ransom.
We did reach out to Kelly and she did send an email regarding this, right?
if someone sends you a note and says, don't worry, that's unacceptable, right? Or me being told, don't worry, that doesn't sit well with me. It's not the way, we need to look at things a little more professionally when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not beating on anyone, I don't expect you guys to know, I'm just saying that it worries me. In my industry, that worries me.
okay, well,
And then I also, we should also probably look at not trying to drive more work on the township, but we should also look at every once in a while reviewing whether we're getting the best service for our money, right? We're a government, we should be tendering stuff, right? Not handing stuff off to people, I would think. Should be, RFIs and RFPs and then you make decisions based on what you ask, and then you'll have to you need to involve a consultant. I can't consult.
No.
I rest them on the township,
yeah,
so I can't come and say, this is how you have to write the RFP.
No.
yeah,
That wouldn't be right.
No.
But you'd have to have a consultant who would say, this is kind of or this is what other townships have done, and this is how they consult. And this is kind of what the bid looked like, where it went out, so you wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel.
no,
I'm sure at the county level, and I was thinking about that, I was wondering if at the county level, do they have something in place that maybe we could almost piggyback off of what they're doing to help lower costs when we look at maybe an RFI or an RFP down the road, right?
That was talked about.
Because if they're
Yeah.
in numbers, the bigger it is, the lower the cost if you kind of peanut butter it across the different townships.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if at the county level, if that was ever discussed.
It was discussed, but
Just to help the
And
townships
that's-
save money.
that's something we're gonna be looking at in the upcoming year or two. Is shared services.
Yeah,
Because, you know, like, it's getting to the point where the small municipalities, we can't afford.
yeah, and some things we can't afford it and we can't afford not to.
Yeah,
To do something.
that's exactly.
And that's
what
where
it's-
if
Yeah.
the county was working together with all the municipalities that might be able, we may be able to leverage the same IT
Yeah.
departments.
That's what,
Trying to take something away from someone, but just trying to think,
yeah, and what's really hard to, you know, especially in Renfrew County, you got your larger municipalities that can hire all that staff to do that.
oh yeah, they can afford a consultant and they can afford an IT person and
Exactly,
on
yeah,
staff.
yeah.
We don't have that.
Yeah,
We can't afford that.
so you try to get the bigger municipalities that already have that to be on board and share that with the smaller ones, and it's kind of,
Yeah.
you know.
If I may,
Yep.
just to be clear, there was no RFP sent out for an IT, but I did obtain numerous quotes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know you asked for quotes. It's just hard. I would think it would be hard for you to determine what IT you really need.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you're really not an IT person. I'm not saying that in a bad way, right? You're doing the best that you can, given the tools you have to work with. I see that and I appreciate it. That's really good. But there's just little things, I think there's small little gaps that we can tighten up. Just to make sure that we're protected. I really hate to see us get held for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
well, we'll
a
push out.
township, because then you have all your ratepayers' information that's locked up and
Yeah,
your sensitive information, right?
yeah,
And I'm sure that folks are probably trying to do a good job, we're just not aware, but I would really like to ask the question about pen testing for sure. And what type of firewall devices are being used, are they software or hardware? How often is the firmware updated and on those devices and who's maintaining that?
Email with those questions?
Sure, I'll send that. Yeah. And it's not, like I said, it's not too, I just seen a few things and it's been concerning me since I've come on board. I've seen things happen in our emails and I go, there's gaps we haven't done. It's looked like we've been attacked. Someone has got there. They haven't done too much, but I think there's small gaps we need to tighten up on. That's all. Not that I'm saying anyone's doing a bad job. I'm just saying we can probably just do a little bit better. That's yeah. We'll ask some questions and see where it goes.
okay. Okay,
Thank you.
council discussion, opening council chambers for public attendance for council meetings. Comments?
We've, if I may,
Yeah,
we've had numerous requests from residents, asking when they're going to be allowed back into these chambers for meetings. COVID, I think, is here to stay with us. It's not going anywhere.
We have room enough for one room.
Yeah.
We just have to determine, I guess, our spacing, right?
Yeah.
How much room do we have to invite folks?
For 10. Yeah.
Was that in a different layout?
No, that's what
In
it
this
is.
layout? Okay.
Yeah. That's what our capacity
Yeah,
is.
so we have chairs right there.
Like I don't have a problem.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
I just feel funny with my back.
yeah, that's the only thing I feel a bit awkward when
Yeah.
people coming, I'm,
Yeah.
they're looking at my back.
Yeah.
Nothing, I know there's nothing we can do, but Iris and I are both,
Yeah.
kind of, you're trying to turn so you don't make them feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
or not welcome, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
we just don't have a large area for a big congregation.
yeah, we just have maximum capacity.
I guess what do we ask people to let us know if they're attending, so you don't exceed your, how do you do that?
I would think the first handing,
Okay, and then there's.
or at the deputations, if there's deputations.
Because you have to,
First,
yeah, they have to be given access.
yeah. So. Okay,
So this is commencing next meeting?
sure. Okay. Now we're going to the financial statement. We have a resolution that we, the council, the corporation of the township of Brunel Then Dr. Ragland hereby accept the 2022 financial statements. Can I get a mover for that?
I can know.
Councilor Caldwell, seconded by Councilor Clark. Okay, finance, discussion. Question. This little stuff I'm presenting, if you have. Would you be interested in having our auditor come up to present the financial statements?
It is good to hear from them in other organizations I'm in. We do
Yeah.
have that financial auditor come and present.
I think it's good for them to come. So maybe ask them to come to the next council meeting. So we'll come to the council meeting.
All right, you can send it an email.
Lives in.
Because we have Kevin's new, so it would be good for them to touch base. Or
I
some,
know another, like I said, other organizations,
Yeah.
whether people are new or not, that we bring them in
Yeah,
once a year.
yeah, I know the county does there.
yeah,
We do it face to face. And-
Yeah.
so you can save your questions for him then,
Mhm.
and we'll go over it. We have a motion on the table, will we read it till next meeting?
That's right.
I guess we could.
Okay, so we'll have to vote on the motion now, and you can vote. You
Or you
can
can motion to
table it. You can table it, okay, table it till the next meeting. Okay,
If I may, Mayor, while we're under financials, if we could set a date for the next regular meeting.
oh.
I don't know, and everybody's available next Wednesday.
Yeah, I always think Wednesday's open for
Let's see, everything.
a week from now, today's the 12th, so it's gonna be the 19th.
The 19th.
Yeah, let's.
April 19th.
I guess.
1 second.
Yeah.
We could also,
Yeah, I'm good.
we could also ask the auditor to come to that meeting to present the financial statement.
If he's available.
If he could make it to that meeting, that would be great.
So April 19th works for everybody,
Yep.
7 o'clock.
and I'll go as the auditor to attend as well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Are we doing 7 o'clock or different time? 7, okay.
Anything else?
Financials.
So 11.1 we dealt with last week. 11.2,
The only thing about that one. I was without hydro and I couldn't attend the meeting,
yeah,
but the township office was open here. Why wasn't I not informed? I could have made the meeting.
I'm sure it was a oversight.
Well, Jordan had called me. There was somebody here I had talked to Virginia during the afternoon. And also, actually, I tried to get her at home a few times. There's no answer. So whether they were still here at the township office, I don't know. But it would only take a minute or two to give me a call,
Yeah.
so I could be out here.
I can speak on that a little bit. I apologize for that happening, but we weren't even sure we were gonna have power here. We were having some issues with the generator kicking on.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And we weren't even sure we were gonna be here.
Yeah, you guys were in there at the meeting.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah, we weren't even sure we were gonna be here at the time. We didn't wanna make any arrangements. with
yeah,
it.
okay, because I know the phone number you gave me, you told me it would work on dial. It wouldn't, because dial doesn't have a county.
And just so you're aware, Wayne, when I have no power, I have no phone.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't ignoring phone calls. I was-
Your answers, you know, you weren't sure whether you're going to have power here, which is, okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay,
And all we did was the debenture.
oh, yeah, I realize that. I realize that.
Well, maybe we've got to upgrade from our rotary phone.
Well, you know something, no, I'll tell you what happened. After George had finished talking to me, my hydro came on,
Yeah.
so I ran to my computer. And the first time that link didn't come up, so I hit the off button or whatever, and turned it back on, the link was there. And I pushed accept. And it accepted it, and about 5 seconds later, power went back out. But when it came back on again, I don't know if that link only stays on for a few seconds, it wasn't there anymore.
Well, we lost them at the beginning. I didn't know where they went to.
Oh, okay, so in other words,
Yeah.
if I would have turned it back on, I could have got it maybe again.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, because like I say, I turned it back on and it was all gone, there was nothing there.
It took longer to get everybody joined up.
That's right.
That it did for meeting, yeah.
Yeah, more waiting than doing
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Okay, so on we go to 11.2. We have a resolution that we, the council, the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindop, and Raglan hereby adopts bylaw number 2023-19, being a bylaw to establish rules governing the proceedings of council, the calling of meetings, and the conduct of members, having been introduced and read first, second, and third time. Can I get a motion on that, please? Moved by Councilor Banks, seconded by Councilor Quad. Any comments, any questions, any concerns? Okay. So,
And could we get a copy of that?
Yes, you can. I'm not sure if you wanted me to go over the changes that legal suggested, or if we're, if you got it, you're comfortable with everything. That's good.
no, you can tell.
Okay. So, just the only changes that were made from legal was, definition Q regarding electronic participation. Just including the definition there, and then in collaboration with that, section 3.6, just the description of electronic participation for members. That was changed from the draft. The committees 5.11s. He revised that paragraph a little bit just to make it clearer. And then item 10.4, every bylaw shall be passed by resolution, but from now on going forward, also include having been read a first, second, and third time.
Yeah.
To be more,
Yeah,
like it was the way it should be.
yeah. And the first reading is when you read it more agenda. Yeah, so it's all the different stages. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good then, as long as legal's happy with it. Okay. I'll call for the vote, all those in favor? Yes. Against? Motion carried. Okay, 11.3. We have a resolution that the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindop, and Raglan hereby adopt bylaw 2023-20, being a bylaw to provide for the closing and stopping up of part of the original road allowance for road along the shore of Laurel Lake line in front of Park Lot 19, concession 9, in the geographic township of Brunel, for the transfer thereof to the owner of the abutting land, having been introduced and read the first and second time. Any questions, comments? Okay, I'll call for the. Oh, I need a number. Okay. Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Keller, seconded by Counselor Quad. Okay, and I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion carried. So now the advertising and all that will take place to come back for the third reading. We have another resolution that the council of the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindop and Raglan hereby adopt bylaw number 2023-21, being a bylaw to provide for the closing and stopping of a part of the original Lonsford Road along the southerly shore of the Madawaska River, lying in front of lot 30, concession 13, in the geographic township of Raglan, and for the transfer thereof to the owner of the abutting land, having been introduced and read first and second time. Can I get a mover, please? Counselor Banks, seconded by Counselor Gopel. Any questions? Call for the vote, all those in favor?
Yes.
And then it's motion carried. The resolution that the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindop and Raglan hereby adopt bylaw 2023-22, being a bylaw to provide for the closing and stopping up a part of the original allowance for road along the bank of the Madawaska River, line in front of lot 24, concession 17 in the geographic township of Raglan, and for the transfer thereof to the owner of the abutting land, having been introduced and read first and second time. Can I get a mover for that, please? Counselor Keller, seconded by Counselor Quad. Any questions, comments? Call for the vote, all those in favor?
Yes.
Against, motion is carried. We have a resolution that we, the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindop and Raglan, go into closed session pursuant to the municipal act 2001. Section 239 sub 2 for the purposes of subsection B. 2 items regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and 2 items under subsection D, labor relations or employment negotiations. Can I get a mover for that, please? Counselor Banks, seconded by Counselor Quad. Any questions or comments? I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Yes.
Against, motion carried. Okay, we are back in open session. We have a resolution to council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindop and Raglan come out of closed session at 9:28 p.m. Can I get a mover for that? Okay, Counselor Capel, seconded by Counselor Clyde. Any questions, comments? I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Yes.
While we were in closed, we talked about 2 items regarding personal matters about identifiable individuals, and 2 items under subsection D, labor relations or employee negotiations. We have a resolution and we, the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindop and Raglan hereby adopts bylaw 2023-23, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the April 5th, 2023 regular meeting of council and deferred regular council meeting of April 12th, 2023, having been introduced and read first, second, and third time. Can I get a mover for that, please? Counselor Keller, seconded by Counselor Capel. Any questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion is carried. On a resolution that this meeting adjourns at 9:29 p.m. Did I get a mover, please? Thank you. Counselor Capel. My meeting is adjourned.